I appreciate the seasonality of men's haircuts. It's spring, and the men are out. Walking around, I want to look good.
When the sun comes out, men come out. Like they come out from all.
The shoulder shimmy made me so uncomfortable.
This is the Snowball Effect.
Welcome to the Snowball Effect podcast, where we're going to bring enterprise-level tools and talent to a local small business to help them grow. Episode 2, we've made it to episode 2.
we put on a happy face for Zaxter and Jake when they came in, and now it's just us for this episode, so we can kind of let ourselves go.
We just we don't have to worry about taking care of ourselves.
I didn't even shower this morning. Zero prep.
I've been sitting in this chair since they left a couple of days ago.
I was actually nervous people were going to notice this, but I'm wearing the same clothes. I know. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I realized it as I was editing. I was like, oh,
that's awesome. Hey, well, welcome everybody to episode 2. Really excited to have you of the Snowball Effect. And let's just take a quick look at a little bit of where we've been and where we're going. So, Chad, you want to walk us through memory lane and then take us into the future?
Yeah, so the first episode, we introduced the subject of this podcast, which is Studio Z. We're going to spend the entire season, which we have like 10 episodes slated, which is about 3 months to focus on Studio Z, helping them grow their marketing and customers, revenue, everything like that. The first 4 or 5 episodes of this season are going to be brainstorming, coming up with the marketing plan, interviewing a few really cool guests we have coming on, Corey Stevens, Levi Lindsay, and Mark America Smith and his wife, Deidre Smith. It's going to be awesome having them on. The second part of the season is going to be all execution, carrying out all the marketing plans. You guys are going to see us making fools of ourselves, probably, maybe Christians going out on the street in a gorilla costume. Who knows what we come up with?
Spinning signs.
I was going to do that anyway, so honestly, that fits right into my...
He calls that Thursday night.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so that's what we've done so far, and that's what we're planning to do in the future. Today, I believe we're just going to be brainstorming and setting up our initial marketing plan.
So today, we're going to kind of map out a little bit of a marketing structure. Then we talk about some brainstorming, and then that brainstorming gets reorganized when we map that out into an actual strategy. I'm really excited, mostly to find out what our listeners and our viewers have to say, because I think they're the ones that are going to come in and say, I've sat in a barber chair before and thought, oh, why didn't they do this? Why don't they do that? There's tons of things they could do. So with the marketing minds out there, plus just the common sense, plus just anyone with hair might have an opinion. I'm really excited.
If you don't have hair, we don't want to hear from you.
We don't want to hear from you.
So you have no business listening to this, but we don't want you to listen, honestly.
Our CEO, Landon, no, he doesn't. He does not get an opinion.
Well, and I'm quickly like, I'm no longer I'm quickly becoming less and less of the demographic as my hair goes. Super excited to get started. Let's talk marketing. So we just found out all kinds of great stuff from Zaxter and from Jake about their business. What things stood out as we were asking them questions? Anything stood out to either of you?
The main thing, that big old customer's goal that they have. They said 3x in 3 months. I was like, I mean, goals are supposed to be stretch. So
I thought they said 2x. Did they say?
Well, no, they originally started.
You just gave me another little heart
They
attack.
started with 3x, and then we like kind of talked them down, like, okay.
And they're like 2x, and then we're just like, that's still a little rich.
Which I don't want to like come off as like, whoa, guys, like what is that? Because I do think that it should be a stretch. I think we did arrive later on at 2x.
But that was the first thing that stood out.
That's
for you.
The first thing that stood out.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate like they're aiming big. Like I like big.
That's exactly right.
I like big aspirations.
You cannot. I like something that you can't lie about.
I can't lie about that. So no, I like that they're like they want to be more like they want to be big, and they actually want to be more than a barbershop in the future, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I don't know how much we're going to get into that because we have a 3-month runway. So, but they want to be like a one-stop shop for men,
which is cool. And I've heard this plan before. I knew that he had this this idea, which is cool because he does do. I think he instructs jujitsu and yoga as well. And
that's awesome.
He included that in that big idea. And that's going to be a really cool conversation, I think, that he could have with Mark America Smith. And one thing important with that customer thing is I was asking him, like, so what's the actual capacity of 3 barbers? Is that 2x? Can they hit that 2x? Because in this 3 months, we should take that into account. And so that number might be updated. Do you know what I mean? Because one of the barbers has to be trained.
Right.
I don't know how long that's going to take. And I imagine that the next barber, like, his capacity isn't going to be quite what Zaxter's is, but I don't know. I don't know what that is, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about that.
What really stood out to me is what I really appreciate from them is he's got so much passion. And I think that mix really makes him a special. That's kind of, that mixed with their expertise, I think has contributed to the success they've had so far. And I think it makes him a perfect quote unquote client for us to work with, because he's got the passion, he's got the humility to listen. And I think that combined with his expertise and hopefully our know-how and our direction and hopefully great ideas will lead to a successful outcome.
I think we portrayed and we looked like we knew what we were talking about, and I think they bought it.
Guys,
I think we all agreed they bought it. No, here's what I loved about what they said. 2 things that really stood out about them just being with that huge number was aiming big, like you said. Number 1 is they're not afraid to think big, and so that's fantastic. Number 2 is it tells me that they're committed to this and that they're willing to roll up their sleeves and get in and help make that happen. And knowing that they're doing it the right way and they're willing to come in and contribute. And it's not just like, oh, great, help me grow. And then they sit back and be like, I'm waiting, but they're ready to get in and do some work. Because that's what it's going to take to hit these huge, big aspirational goals. So let's talk about how to get there. But before I do that, there's still some questions I want to get answers to, and I don't think we're going to get them here, but I think it's important for those people watching and listening and for Zaxter and Jake to understand there's still some additional questions I would love answers to, so I'd love to put a pin in this and circle back and see if we can get some of this, because I think it's really going to inform our marketing. One is we talked about their revenue last year of about $100K. Was that right? Mm-hmm. I would love to see what that was like month over month, quarter over quarter. Is that an ascending number? Is there seasonality there?
Okay. Yeah.
Is there anything like that? I would love to see some of that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because we may be coming into a busy time, and then we're taking credit for all the growth, or we may be coming into a slow time.
Well, it would have been nice if you just hadn't brought that
up. So edit that out, and we'll insert it if things go badly, and be like, see, Todd said there could be seasonality.
This was a down
I
season.
appreciate the seasonality of men's haircuts. It's spring, and the men are out. Walking around, I want to look good.
When the sun comes out, men come out. Like they come out from all.
The shoulder shimmy made me so uncomfortable. Did you have more things you wanted to go over with those questions?
As far as questions, there's a few, whether or not they get cut or not, but there's a few others I'd like to get as far as how many haircuts they're doing a month and what's their average cost or what's their average revenue per haircut, because I know they have 3 different price points. So I'm interested on where we stand on that. Let's get back to this kind of core structure of marketing.
Cool.
It kind of comes down to a marketing funnel in my mind. Some people call it a bow tie. Some people call it an hourglass.
Yeah, I saw that comment when it leaked in. I was like, what is a bow tie but a tipped over hourglass?
That's
what?
But there's nuances. There's actually interesting nuances
to this will be good
to what
me.
some of that might be. Essentially, how I'd like to frame it, just so that we're all kind of talking the same language, is I kind of prefer the hourglass, which is you have a funnel at the top, and then that's where you close the deal. So you have people coming aware of who you are. Then they care what you have to say, and now they're comparing you with other alternatives, and now you actually close the deal, they pay you money, and you offer your service. Well, then you have kind of the tail end of that after the purchase, which is now you're trying to turn them into an advocate who will actually share. So it kind of goes aware, they're aware of who you are, they care, they compare, they sign right there, and you see how this all rhymes.
Wow.
So it's obviously accurate and profound and going to have an impact on business, and then they share.
Why didn't you rhyme in the episode when Studio Z was here? Like, we were trying to fake like we knew what we were talking about.
Yeah,
I know.
It instantly
if I would have
builds
hit them with a
credibility.
rhyme,
Oh yeah,
I think they would have asked us for 4x
We
in
didn't
3 months.
speak in one damn verse.
The whole time. They would, their expectations would have just, I was trying to manage their expectations a little bit. And so anyway, those are at least the phases of the funnel that we can talk about as we look at expanding their growth. So that's essentially how I look at it. So as we look at ideas on what we can do, great, we can hang them at a certain point on that hourglass.
Awesome.
Because we all know you hang things on hourglasses. So that's where the analogy breaks down.
And I think as we do that, as me and Christian come up with our really stupid ideas and you give really good ideas, that's going to be your role to like keep us in check and definitely tell us where that goes within the funnel. I like that I just assigned you a role and you're my boss.
That's great. You got it.
I'm going to keep doing things. I'm going to chip away at your authority until I'm your boss.
That's right. And there's nothing I can do because it's live. But inside, I'm an inferno.
Right.
I'm so angry. I'm like, oh, you're going to get this in our one-on-one. Like, this is going to come out in passive-aggressive ways.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so as we talk about that hourglass, so we start, of course, with our overall goal. The way I kind of like to frame it in my mind is like we have our goal, and then we have several objectives under that help us to contribute to accomplishing our goal.
Right.
So as we were having that discussion with them, and we had a little bit of discussion after, I kind of want to propose a couple of objectives that will help us to categorize our ideas.
I love shooting down ideas. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so the first obviously is just like, how do we increase the amount of customers? Like, how do we get more awareness out there? Just top of funnel. How do we get more people in? Number two is, how do we improve the customer experience? So when people are getting their haircuts, how can we make that a more pleasurable experience for them? So obviously they'll want to come back. Number three is, how can we get more revenue from their existing customers?
Yeah.
And then number four is, how can we turn their customers into more customers by generating reviews and getting referrals? So I kind of have those as our four objectives that kind of working our way down that hourglass, as you mentioned. And I think we could just like start at the top and go there, start mentioning our ideas about how we can get more customers.
Well, and this is where I take the role that Chad just gave me and say, that's a great idea. I think people do it the exact opposite way, or they do it the wrong way, where they instantly start thinking about, let's go to that awareness phase. Let's drive in more people. When I think really the hidden gem that every company has is the customers that they already have. So I would just say, take that same structure, flip it, do exactly opposite of what you say, but it's exactly the same. No, take that structure and just flip it and say, start with your current customers. Start with your current customers, and let's look at making them real happy. And let's look at then taking those happy customers and then finding out how can they bring us more customers. Use that to actually influence the customer experience. And then from there, the good thing is you start getting video testimonials and you start getting case studies and things like that. And that actually is perfect ammo for stuff you can use top of funnel. So I would say same exact structure.
Yeah, but
maybe starting with the customer. And the reason I actually really like that is because, one, I said it, and so I'm naturally biased towards it.
Yeah.
And two, something that Zaxter said is, whatever we do with growth, we got to keep these customers happy. We got to keep this customer experience, and you highlighted this. We got to keep this customer experience locked and loaded. And I think this mentality is conducive to that. What do you think?
I honestly think that's a great idea. The more you said it, the more I liked it. Let's get a true understanding of kind of our unit economics within like the lower stage of the funnel, how much we need to spend with each customer, how much revenue they're generating, and then that will inform what we want to do top of funnel. Did it sound cool when I said unit economics?
It really did.
Okay.
I thought,
oh my gosh.
I thought this guy's been reading some.
Yeah, I've known you a long time, and I did not know you were this smart.
I honestly don't. I don't even know what that means. I don't know where it came from. I blacked out. No, it's just...
that was super helpful. So I love it. So I propose we start with the current customers that we have, and then build from there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, Snowball as a tool is meant for that, right? The referrals. So do we need to go into how we're going to carry that out?
I don't think so. I think we kind of skip that bottom of the stage because like the answer is the software, right?
Yeah.
And we can talk about how a little bit later, but we don't want to make this a sales pitch anyway.
No,
about how our tools help generate more referrals from your existing customers.
So let's just say we'll plug that in.
Right.
Okay.
It's going to do some good things because what that'll do is start reaching out to their current customers and saying, hey, do you have any referrals you want to send?
I am sitting here secretly hoping we break get a massive chunk of those new customers from our referral program, and the rest of this podcast will will be everything else we try. It'll be a lot of experimentation, a lot of brainstorming, and a lot of putting ourselves out there, changing some things up.
Can I start the brainstorming at that level outside of our software?
Yeah,
which would be at
yeah.
that customer level.
Yeah, let's do it.
First, a short word about next season. Do you know a female-owned small business that could use help getting the snowball rolling? We're on the hunt for a female-owned small business to focus on for Season 2 of the Snowball Effect and female experts to help us along the way. Reach out to add your business to the list. Now, back to our episode.
I don't want to put him on a 30-minute sales pitch. Like, he's there to cut hair. He's there to do his craft. But are there things we could do to say, while they're there, are there things he could do to help grow his business? Can I throw one or two out there?
Yeah.
And then we can riff off it, or you can roll your eyes and tell me it's the worst idea ever. But please don't do that. So people are sitting there.
Oh my gosh.
They're in the Harley Davidson, like, I don't know if everyone knows this, but it's located inside a Harley Davidson, like, what do you call that? A dealership?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you would call it.
Yes. Well, in his defense, he hasn't been there. It is a dealership. It's got
Is it?
motorcycles
Okay.
all
I
over
haven't
the
been
place.
there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, what else would it be?
If you're getting a haircut, where else would it be?
It's just pictures of Harley Davidsons on the wall. It's like it's a Harley Davidson museum.
That's fantastic. So, okay, you're sitting there. Okay, what if there was something in the room? I mean, you've already got Harley Davidsons and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want him to go on a big commercial and be like, hey, how many, let's pull out your phone and let's get referrals. And like, he doesn't want to become that guy, right?
Yeah.
But what if there's something interesting there that actually opens up a conversation and he goes, oh, yeah, and it's got a QR code on it or right there. And they ask him, oh, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's something we give away for anyone that brings me a referral. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that, it's a passive thing. It's very conversational, and I don't know. It gives someone an opportunity to learn about his referral program.
That is cool.
Yeah, when it comes to referrals, I think what's so important about referrals is that you ask for a referral close to the time that they're delighted, right? So a lot of times people who
Or
are
they're pleased.
Yeah, pleased or pleasured. So I think what sometimes companies make the mistake of is they're just like shotgun approach. Let's just ask everyone for a referral.
Right.
Like, let's send a text to everyone. Let's get referrals. And that will be effective, but what's way more effective if it's like event triggered. Like, this system just got installed. I just got this product. I just finished my haircut. I can see how good I look.
Yeah.
That is the time to ask.
That's
and so
right.
having an, like, even if it's a passive ask, it needs to happen there in the shop.
Say that 3 times.
Passive ask. So, like, having it right there and there, because like when he finished my haircut and he like styled it, I was like, hello. I haven't seen you in a little while. I felt so, I was like,
I was sitting there watching, and his face was like,
yeah.
Beaming.
and then he started saying some weird stuff.
Can we talk about what you just did over there? Because that was delightful.
Yeah,
You
just a nice little.
you blessed my scalp.
Yeah.
It like hurt, but I kind of liked it. But like, that's the time to ask. And so it needs to be right there in front of him. And then number 2, like, there needs to be a reason. And like in most cases, that's an incentive, right? And so having something, even if it's small, just be that little extra to put it over the top that, like, hey, if you just go through the time to ask someone or say, hey, I just had the best haircut, check this out. Like, that is going to be effective. So I agree. Having something there is going to be awesome. I have one more idea I want to throw at you. So, like, making it easy and natural for people to ask and generate referrals, if we can do anything to help customers do that. So like, for example, if he himself established a better social media presence, which we have some ideas for, but if he is doing before and after pictures, or even little short videos of people he's doing their haircuts with, and then he is sharing those on his social media and tagging those individuals, and then he even says something not even higher than the funnel of getting a referral, being like, hey dude, if I'm going to tag you in this, if you share this in your Instagram story with this little thing, like, I'll give you this free product right here and there.
I love that, it being a product right there, because he talked about maybe having an e-commerce presence and all that kind of stuff. So with some swag and stuff like that. So I think this fits in. If you had a pile of some super cool, I don't know, what's a cool swag thing? Hats, like you just got a haircut, now cover it with a hat.
Yeah,
but maybe they're visors, those golf visors, so it still shows off your sweet haircut. I don't know.
I just welcome to Natural Foods. Thanks for coming in.
Here's a Twinkie.
It's like the opposite.
But if he had like a hoodie, And I don't know.
Stop covering the head. How about it's just a crew neck sweatshirt?
What if he has a cloak? Okay, an invisibility cloak. All right. No, what if he has just a stack of sweet swag there? He's got a cool logo, and it's right there. And they're like, and there's a thing. It's just a QR code or something. And people are asked like, how do I get one of those? And he's like, oh, those are people who send a referral or post my before and after picture on social media or something like that. I think you have people like crazy going, like loving it.
You're right. Right there while they're in the chair, you've got a captive audience having some imagery right there or things right in front of them.
And something they could walk away with.
Because, ideally, those people are asking him about the situation.
I got a haircut and a scarf on the same day. It's the greatest day ever. Or whatever. Maybe it's a T-shirt. Maybe it's something
go all
else.
the way down. Shoes.
Just
stay away from the hair.
Stay away from the hair.
Actually,
the hair
like
is
some socks, some like stand socks would be dope.
Oh, that'd be cool.
If he had some sweet stand socks there, that's totally on brand.
I will say
for him.
this is kind of supposed to be a $0 budget, but we are cheating with Snowball and with a few other things.
If there is a promo company
in your
out there,
idea in your head with this idea, where does that like expense come from? Are we providing that? Do we convince Zaxter to like invest in that type of thing?
Would Harley Davidson, who is in a dealership, which I now know, like, would they pony up some stuff? Is there a promo company out there?
You know what would be sick? So this is an idea, but it's not a real idea.
My favorite
If
kinds of ideas.
Harley let him take one of the motorcycles in and everyone got their haircuts on the Harley.
That's cool. That's cool.
Or you turn it on.
But I'm just saying, something there, maybe it's something you take your picture in, like you're at the fair and you stick your head over it and you take a picture and we post it on social media. You know what I'm talking about, right?
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's the greatest idea.
Like you stick your head through and you're like, it's your head on like a big muscle man.
Sweet Tommy.
John, this is our CMO.
I love like maybe after they come.
I just pitched that to Landon. All right, our CEO. It's a big play for us in Q2.
That's a good idea.
Kidding.
I don't know. Maybe we could like when they finish the haircut, we give them like a little sucker and be like, "Thanks so much."
There you go. Like you get at the bank.
So
okay.
You sort of answered that question. Kind of wield our influence to try to get like other companies to like, hey, would you like lend us some swag so that we can influence some referrals at this barbershop. We'll also like talk about you in our podcast.
But it doesn't even have to be that. It could something he controls would be do this and you get $10 off your next haircut.
Right.
Something like that. Like there's other alternatives that we could toy.
Yeah, so we've talked about some ideas with referrals. Can we go to the next highest level or moving our way up, which is increasing revenue per customer? Mm-hmm. So how do we make sure that not only are we bringing more customers in, but increasing the amount of revenue they get per customer?
So I have an idea, and I don't know if it's a good idea because I've never done anything like this, but he was talking about how he needs to train these new barbers, and I was like, you should be recording with high quality audio and video a lot of what you do, and that is a moment of extreme value, those trainings. So whether you create these like tutorial videos on TikTok and put those there and get new customers and customer revenue if he's selling his merch, but also creating a really solid curriculum, and then eventually selling an online course for barbers.
I love it. Actually, that is right in line with one of my ideas that I had for improving the customer experience while they're there. Is like some more education pieces, but I can get into that a little bit better later. But yeah, I love it because I'll tell you right now, after I got my haircut, he like taught what I love about Zaxter is he like teaches you how to style your hair. He like gives you a haircut and he's like, okay, I'm going to make it look amazing, but I'm also going to teach you how you can make it amazing at home. And he goes through this process, and it's like kind of more of a laborious process, like of like this step, then this step, then this step, to this step. And then I went home, and my wife was like loving my hair, and she thought it was amazing. And the next day I tried to do it myself. She's like, it just doesn't look as good. Yeah. It's like, dang it. So I tried to remember what he told me, and I forgot. And also I was like, man, I don't remember how he did this or how he did that.
I think that's pretty common. I do. So whatever you're about to say as far as an idea, education, I think it's a really good idea already.
Thank you.
Because I had the exact same experience. It took me 4 haircuts to get me to get on his level as far as doing my hair.
I would love if when you finish your haircut, depending on the type of haircut, he's like, I'm just going to send you a quick text that has a little video about how to style your hair.
I think it's brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah.
And the videos is on his YouTube or on his LinkedIn or something like that. So they've got to go get it there, and they now follow him, and they're like, this is the greatest ever. So I think there's a lot of good things we could do there. Because think of that, you could have different playlists of tutorials based off of types of hair.
Yep.
Your hair versus mine. I'm telling you, there's going to be different questions that I've got on how to style my hair. One of them is, how do I put my hat on and cover it? But the other one is, how do I cut it?
Where's the nearest wig store?
Exactly. That's awesome. No, it's true. Like he probably runs into different types of people that have different hair questions, and he could have different playlists on all that, and send them a nice text afterwards, like, here's how to style it.
So your thoughts as far as how this can increase revenue per customer, your thoughts are that perhaps this could be used to develop like some sort of module or online access portal that people would pay for access to?
Yeah, and it's basically just a different revenue stream rather than squeezing revenue out of current customers or potential customers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one idea I had, because I've been editing, so I did.
well, additionally, you house those tutorials and things like that, like on your website that has your store and all that kind of thing. Yeah, and so now you've got people that are visiting you, getting a haircut, but then they're also visiting your website, and they're also seeing your swag, they're seeing your products, and so I think it starts a nice virtuous cycle.
It is nice because it's an idea that really applies to all aspects of the funnel, right? If he gets videos out there like this, like he can use it promotional to get people to hear from him to come in. For his existing customers, it's going to make them more sticky because they know how to style their hair. They got this education piece from him. He's providing more value to the customer, and that will increase the stickiness there.
You actually see this in PPC ads all the time, social and social ads all the time for people's courses. They just put a minute of their course as the ad.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, shoot, I need to learn how to do the rest of it. And that's the ad. So I'm saying that is definitely an option.
Do you see the value of starting with the customer and then working your way up, and now you're informing your campaigns that are clear at the top of the funnel?
Yeah.
To where, so anyway, I'm just super excited because I could give myself a plug for a comment I made earlier.
5-star idea.
That is a really good idea.
That's the winner of the first 5-star award.
Just behind the little cutout muscle men on the beach. So creating some nice content. You talked about content with the new barbers and like teaching people how to actually do it. It could help him creating and again, we're just thinking of everything now, and we can clean this up later.
Yeah.
But clean up on aisle, bad idea. But
I like that.
As he's actually recruiting new barbers and things like that, if he's got a playlist or a course there of, hey, look at TJ. He went from this level, and now look at where he's at. Because he said, look, in 2025, I'm going to have 6 barbers handling all these customers that Snowball brought me. So anyway, I think it's going to help him on the recruiting front.
Yeah, training collateral. Okay, I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
You guys might roll your eyes at it because it's kind of like a hot topic in just like business today as far as generating revenue.
Zoom in on me, rolling my eyes.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you get your haircut twice a month, right? Mm-hmm. And you pay just the normal price every single time.
Yeah, that's right.
What if
they do give you a little discount, like GOAT, GOAT? They do GOAT haircuts. They do a thing where you kind of do pay for a subscription. It gives you a little bit of a discount. Is that kind of where you're going?
My whole idea is that you just pay an annual fee and you get unlimited haircuts. At least once a month.
Oh, that sounds like it'd be a nightmare with scheduling, though.
Well, they have to schedule themselves, right? It's going to work the same way as scheduling.
They do it. I actually think there's something to it because they do this with car washes. They do this with so many things. And yes, you get the person that comes to the car wash every single morning, but you also get the people that forget to wash their car. So it's like every 3 months. As long as you've got a dialed-in scheduler, I think it's something to consider.
I would wonder. Yeah, he does have a very dialed-in scheduler. That, in fact, is his website right now. All it is a scheduler. It's definitely worth looking into. I would just be surprised if no one's done it, and I want to see how they do it with barbers. You know what I mean?
GOAT does it. They do it. They don't do a year, but they do a monthly where you basically get
a year seems excessive.
They do a monthly subscription.
Would you commit to a year? Because you were nervous about starting.
I'm not sure if I'm willing to commit to a year. I mean, he's the best barber I've ever been to, but I would be more likely to do it if I knew I was going to save some money and I say I only get 4 or 5 haircuts a year, and it's like, so that's like,
and you were to get a sweet hoodie for doing it.
Yeah,
you know, like you
stop with the hoodie. So
wearing
you get a free toupee, like whatever. So
yes, please.
It's kind of like a golf course works, right? When you have a golf course, you can pay for a membership.
That's right.
But there's almost always with golf courses, you can also pay for a punch pass. And so there's 2 options here with this subscription plan. One is you could do like an annual membership, and you can, like, maybe even the gold tier is you can do on like once a week or like up to this many.
I'm not kidding. When it comes to shaving your neck and things like that, like people are really, especially his high end haircut is $75. When you're talking to people that are paying $75 for a haircut, they're less price conscious.
Yeah.
And so they might be looking at some of the perks that would come with a premium package like that.
Walk in, walk out without paying. You warming up to it?
Yeah, I am, because there are times when I'm like, oh, I have to give a talk in church, or I'm going on a date. I never thought that. But like times when I'm like, but I just went 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
it would be nice to have a fresh cut, but this
up.
event is coming up. It would be nice to get a cut right before it, but I'm not going to do it because I just had it 3 weeks ago. So I kind of like the idea of that. I just wonder, like, economically, is it smart for him?
Well, I think
Will he
it's
make
the
more money
reason
doing
that
this?
so many companies do subscriptions is because exactly what you said. Where they make their margin, where they make their money, are the people who pay for it annually and actually use it less than they forget, or they don't do it as frequently as they want to, and thus they're making money on
I
that.
like
And
how we're
that's not
discussing a way to like cheat me out of more money.
no, because
Well, it's not bad.
Additionally, it opens up a gifting type of a
Yeah.
thing where this is a premium gift you give to someone on Father's Day, or you give to a loved one, is you've got your next year worth of haircuts at a really nice place where you're going to feel like a king. And I think it opens up some things when it comes to making each customer more valuable.
Yeah.
If they're already coming in every 6 weeks for a haircut, well, now they're buying this for somebody they love. Now they're upgrading themselves. I think you're just getting more value out of those customers that already love you.
I think
it's also expected revenue. It's revenue in the bank. Like,
I
you know,
think it's a
there.
4.3 star idea.
Thank you. And I think the punch pass is a way to have a middle ground, right? Because you throttle it, being like, okay, I know they're not going to get more than 10 haircuts because they have a 10 haircut punch pass, right? But they still are locking themselves in to this committed amount of haircuts, and they get it at a discount price.
My initial thought on that idea is make one of them premium for the $7,500, make the other, where it's more price sensitive, the punch pass. Because when I go into holiday, I have a punch pass because I got a discount on my sodas, and so I just get a free soda every time. But I'm doing it to save money.
Yeah.
And I think your more money conscious people are maybe a punch pass.
When I say punch pass, I'm not saying like, hey, get 10 haircuts and then
the
free
get
haircut.
one free.
I'm
Okay.
saying you buy 10 haircuts that has 10
Buy 10,
spots,
yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
that. And so, and it's like, and the haircuts are $65.
That's what I get at
but
Momentum,
you paid
the
it for
climbing
up
gym.
front, right? So you
Right.
paid $650 for this punch pass that gets you 10 haircuts.
Yeah.
It's once again guaranteed revenue, and it limits the capacity issue a little bit. I think the only concern I have with it is, are punch passes seen as a little bit like not high class, like I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
they have a similar thing at Momentum, the climbing gym,
like
but
a
it's not
digital
a
punch
punch,
pass.
but it's a digital one. And so it feels more sophisticated. It's not like Holiday Oil where they're literally bringing out a little puncher thing. But basically you just pre-purchase 10 climbs, and they give you a little bit of a discount for it. But I've used 2 of the 10 climbs that I bought 3 months ago. And so, yeah, I've got them in my back pocket if I ever need to, but it's predictable income for them.
I do wonder what Zaxter's reaction to a customer experience suggestion from us would be, because I don't know that he's expecting us to offer suggestions about like changing the way he does things, but I think he's open to anything. You described him perfectly earlier about like the humility, and like he's willing to go the extra mile and do whatever.
Well, we just
I
let
am curious
Christian
about-
drop unit economics, or
Yeah,
what was
that's
that?
true.
And then he'll realize.
I'm still here.
I am curious. Yeah, I think it's worth discussing and seeing what they think.
I
about
think
that,
we
for
don't
sure.
want to adjust his craft, but we want to provide suggestions for his operations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're not touching his craft a little bit. We're not saying, hey, like do this. Like we don't know anything about hair, but we do know something
That's
about
right.
operations. And I think this guaranteed or like expected revenue that you can do through a subscription or punch pass, it'd make a difference.
And
Cool.
I think he's really dialed into
Yeah.
who his customer is, and
Yeah.
he's going to push back if we do something that's going to damage the customer experience. But I think we should be pushing and seeing what we can do.
And with that being said, should we move to our ideas
do
about more how we can improve the customer experience? We've now talked about how we can maximize revenue per customer. Let's talk about more about their experience in the barbershop.
I had an idea, and I don't know where it falls.
Okay.
Can you guys just tell me where it falls?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like the idea of, like, with marketing specifically, approaching topics that people don't approach. And I never understood like the weird respect around competitors. That's like nobody ever only really confident brands talk about their competitors. And in the barbering game, as I think Zaxter would put it, is interesting because I don't think they see each other as competitors. You saw the way that Zaxter talked about it last episode. He's like, "There's enough food for all of us."
It's kind of brother in arms.
Talk about that.
Type of a thing, right?
Yeah, it's so. This idea comes from that like context. I think it would be funny or fun or whatever to have Zaxter like formally challenge all the barbers in the area to like a barber Olympics. And we invite them and we set up like mannequin heads and say, hey, you got 3 minutes to do a bowl cut. You got 2 minutes to do a mohawk, and you've got judges, and we record the whole thing. It's content. I don't know what it does. Does it get new customers? Who knows? But I think it'd be hilarious. It's different. It's his competition. I have no idea.
We're in the brainstorm mode,
Yeah.
and so I'm saying there are no bad ideas. Let's flesh it out.
Oh,
Okay, it's a bad idea.
No.
oh my gosh, I did not see that coming. The Barber Olympics.
The Barber Olympics. Okay. Let's talk it through just for a couple of minutes before we move on from it quickly. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Actually, there could be something there.
Oh man.
What?
The reason
tell me how you see this playing out.
Yeah, the reason I think about this is because like because I think I'm probably the one who's going to be creating the TikTok content, whatever that ends up being, and so I'm thinking, what will people respond to? What is interesting? What's different? What's surprising? And so those are the words that kind of had me think about this. Yes, I understand that it's a pretty stupid idea, but I think the best ideas have an element of like extreme risk and stupidity.
If we don't have something in our marketing presentation, if we don't have something that's risky and that we're really like could totally fall on its face, then shame on us.
I don't want all of our ideas to be the safe, like, a subscription. Not saying that's like it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just want something that's a little bit more out of the box. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll throw some out of the box.
This
It's
is certainly
haircuts and pet neutering. There we go. It's a bundle deal. I don't know.
What if we did renamed his company to Carpet and Drapes, and he does hair and he does
Hey, it's out of the box. There's no bad ideas at this stage, all right?
What if he does like TikTok and Instagram content? And you know how there's barbers that will like cut homeless people's hair and have discussions with them, and it's a cool transformation. What if he had homeless people cut his hair? Okay.
And he paid them for it. So it's like it is still
Everyone
providing
wins.
the service.
Everyone wins.
That's a good idea.
Okay, let's go back to
really good.
Let's
the
go.
Barber
Okay,
Olympics.
Barber Olympics. Why not? Like
Well, number one, we don't have a budget. Number two,
budget. What do you need a budget for? We
to like advertise.
You sound like Allen Iverson.
I'm-
Budget practice. We don't need.
I'm so excited to walk into these other barbershops and give them the surprise of the week. What should we say? We'd like to formally invite you to the Barber Olympics.
No. Okay, let's flesh this out. Okay, you may be onto something. Okay,
That sound fun. It's surprising. it's shock advertising.
So, and then it's just like for content to like.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'll make the
Listen,
content.
maybe-
You guys make it money.
Okay. What if we were to ask Z? Okay, who are 3 or 4 barbers that you know really well? There's probably 3 or 4 that
guarantee
he
he
knows
knows.
really well. We don't
Yeah.
have to come to somebody in cold turkey be like Barber Olympics, and now we're doing a whole
Can
pitch.
you imagine
But-
us going in and videoing that and how funny it would be to see their reaction and Christian's the ways?
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's good
Okay,
content.
I say play the ideas out,
Yeah.
and I was totally teasing about it being a
keep
bad
going.
idea. There
Yeah.
could be some cool things.
Right.
So let's say there's 5 barbers he knows really well.
Okay.
All right, and he's like, okay, Kyle and Doug and Janet, they're all like I know them
Duggan
so
Janet.
well. If I go to them with a crazy idea, they just might do it because it rises all, rising tide raises all ships type of thing. So what would the Barber Olympics look like? Is it what's
mannequin
the,
heads? I explained the idea, Todd.
He's gone as far as mannequin heads and bowl cuts. Okay, what else do you want him to do?
hoping there was more. All right, no. So it's something on man? So is it like a cool style? Is it like, okay, this week on Barber Olympics, it's 80s punk, and it's like, who can do the best 80s punk? And you got 5 minutes, go.
Well, I wasn't.
I've given this 30 seconds of thought. So
I wasn't thinking like an episodic type of thing. I was
You're
thinking
thinking
one
of one time.
event. But
Okay.
I mean, it could be like a yearly Barber Olympics that Zaxter takes going forward. It's just a fun community involvement thing.
I love your idea of starting with one time. Let's see if this takes before we turn this into an annual thing. But
Let's
you're
just
saying
do it.
one time.
Let's stop
We
talking
go
about
into
it.
Janet and Kyle, and who was the other guy? Carlos.
I don't think it's
we
boring.
go into these three, and we say we're going to create some social content. Can you do a mohawk on this? And you've got 5 minutes to do it. Go.
Can you mohawk this?
Can you
So
mohawk this?
I think
I'm glad that this has got as
quick,
much time as it
quick
has.
idea on this. At first, I was like, "Oh, you can't judge because like doing hair is like an art form. They consider themselves artists.
Right.
So you can't say
do you mean
you
you
get
can't
gold
judge?
medals, you get like silver, you get bronze. Like you're the worst at being the barber. And hey, we're gonna put this content out there. Thanks for showing up there, Carlos. So but I had an idea. You know how they do food, like cooking competitions? Like
Yeah.
they do Chopped, where they just throw random ingredients in and they have to make the best thing they have. So you do a barbershop and you do a haircutting competition, but you just give them random tools.
It's like MacGyver, too.
Yeah,
It's
he's got-
MacGyver meets
he's
Edward
got, like-
Scissorhands
yeah, like-
meets Barber.
He's got like one guy's got garden shears. The other one has like just like a bunch of Legos.
Just like six matches, just like melting hair.
This could totally be a will it blend, where they're throwing iPhones into a blender. Okay, I'm saying it may be worth something. Like here's here's 3 things. Can you do this hairdo? You have 10 minutes. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you did like how there Is It Cake? Have you seen that show?
Oh yeah, and they cut. Yeah.
Yeah. What if they had a toupee and real hair and they both cut it and they're like, which one's the toupee? Which one's real
Which
hair?
one's the toupee?
Wait.
There you go.
What?
Is it?
What?
Have you seen Is It Cake?
Yeah, but like, what are you talking about?
Is it hair?
real hair and a
It's very-
toupee?
that's-
Which one's real? What does that mean?
Okay. No. This is actually okay. So I'm super excited. So
Because the
you
toupee is
show
real
it-
hair.
You show it on TikTok, and you cut a real person's hair, and then you see if you can mimic it on a mannequin hair, and it's the same color, and you only show from here up, and everyone like what is real and what's fake. Like, does that make sense? So imagine you're seeing 2 haircuts that are trying to look the same. One of them's a mannequin, one of them's a real person, but you can't see their eyes. So you can't see them winking like, I'm the real person.
So I don't know that I love it, but that gave me another idea.
Okay, we gave your Barber Olympics a good 10 minutes.
Crowdsourced TikTok live haircut where
In the
the
comments?
audience picks what to do
What
next.
they do next. Now fade. I want a high fade, and now perm the top.
I think because of how much I have invested in this being a success, I would agree to be that person who gets his head haircut by a crowd.
Crowdsourcing your
Crowd-
hair.
Crowdsource my
Crowdsource
haircut.
your haircut.
So, I
that
mean-
could be genius because there's people
That's
out
a
there.
stupid idea. Let's
Anyway, great. We've got the stupid idea boxes checked.
Yeah.
All right. Who knows? There could be something.
I don't
there.
want only smart ideas from you guys though. Like,
I just
let's-
love the idea that with any business, you could just add Olympics onto the end. And it would pretty much be the same thing.
Yeah.
You're like, you make muffins? Let's make a muffin Olympics.
It's pet walking Olympics, and all of a sudden it becomes.
I'm sorry.
the most difficult things are the ones that get attention. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay, I love it, and that's very top of funnel, and that's very get attention, and
Can I give
love
you
it.
some
What do
ideas
you got?
that are like small ideas? We don't spend a lot of time on them. So number 1, when they come in, have an iPad there for them that has a bunch of different styles of haircuts for them. So when they sit down, some people know what they want. Some people are like open.
Yeah.
And if you had an iPad that you gave them and has a bunch of different styles, they can click on a different style, then scroll through some pictures and kind of have a catalog of what they want. I think that'd be really, really cool. They
And
can.
they're
It's almost
I'll
like
have the Todd Jensen.
yeah, it's like
and
ordering at a
it's all-
restaurant.
and
Oh yeah, it's like
You
how
get
they
a
do
haircut
swig
named
drinks.
after you.
Like how you do swig drinks.
like super.
Yeah.
Would you give me the Todd Jensen with vanilla?
That's frosted tips.
But can you hold the sass? I'd like light sass. I don't know. Okay, so anyways, I think having like a visual representation that people can choose from, like almost like ordering at a restaurant, I think it's kind of cool.
I want to look like that.
Because a lot of times I'm like, they say, what do you want to do with your hair? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to even describe it. But if they had like a bunch of pictures I go through, that'd be cool. Another quick ones is take home education. We've already talked about, but after they finish a haircut, sending them home with instructions of how to style it. Another one, plug in your playlist. Why don't, if they've got a small barbershop with not a ton of people in there, the most people can be there in two. Most cases, it's just one person at a time. What if he said, hey, you want to listen to music? You just plug in your phone and listen to your own playlist and like have the customer choose the playlist. The last one is, this is kind of a creepy one. What if you documented people's interest?
So documented their interest.
Yeah, so when he finishes off with a customer and he's talked about them and they're like, oh yeah, I'm into pickleball. And oh yeah, this happened with, I've got a couple girls and things like that. In the customer record, put their interest in there. So when you have he's got 100, 200 people he's giving haircuts to. He can see that right before he's going to do the haircut. Oh, they're into pickleball. Oh, they have 2 kids. Or like this. So he actually is able to have a more warm, more personal conversations with them about, man, yeah, you're in pickleball, right? Oh yeah, you got your 2 girls, or you guys were expecting a baby. How did everything go with that, right? It's like a little, I don't know if it's creepy. I think it's just warm and personal if he actually has a place where he can document that and reference it before giving haircuts.
Any other ideas?
No, those were my little.
Those are awesome. I'll throw a couple at you. One is that we teach Zaxter how to get on LinkedIn and be effective there. We've talked about some of these ideas about video and things like that. But Chad, if you were to take him on a crash course on how to build connections on LinkedIn and start sharing some of his content, I think through that alone, because that there is a personal connection, and he then teaches his other barbers how to actually start marketing themselves. I think we could do some fun things.
There's definitely an opportunity there. I could do that, and I think he would go for that. And he just created a LinkedIn account because of our early on conversations. Zaxter, I mean, he knows how to have business conversations because most of his clients are business type people. And so he has a lot of very interesting stories. Like when I'm talking about like how stupid I am with stocks and the dumb risks I take, he talks about a client he has who's like an investor. And he told me a story about it. I don't remember what it was, but the things he could say on LinkedIn as like the business, like the barber, like I share stories about my clients or I mean, he's into yoga and mental health is huge on LinkedIn. Those principles, I think he could create a very interesting space where there isn't a lot of competition for his persona. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Sorry.
So yeah, really teaching him how to get the most out of LinkedIn. I think that there's opportunities with his customers to co-create content on the spot. I don't know. I want to. He like. Or just creating some customer testimonials or getting more customer testimonials. And he was really happy and proud, and he should be, because his Google profile reviews, he's got like 30, he's got under 40, but they're solid. Like these folks love him. Some of the competition have got like hundreds of testimonials.
Yeah.
So he's got some opportunities there to build trust along that customer journey that I think he could leverage a lot more than he is now.
And who knows, because he's a more like it's a smaller operation. Earlier in business, he may not be able to beat these other barbershops on the number of reviews, but what he can beat with them on is he can beat them with the diversification and the quality of the reviews. So for example, on all his reviews, I'm not seeing any pictures with those reviews.
That's right.
Every single one of his reviews needs to include a picture. Ideally, he can get video testimonials.
That's right.
If he can diversify the type of reviews and make it very visual, because what? It's a review of a haircut. It's a very visual thing. Show, don't tell me. If he can actually make sure that it's a very visual thing, then the quality of those reviews will overcome maybe the quantity of the other reviews that other companies have.
And a couple of small points on that customer journey type of a thing. When you first, you search for, a barber, near me, and his comes up. So we talked about reviews. We talked about images on those reviews, even images on his Google profile. Like, right, he works in the freaking coolest place ever. There needs to be pictures of that place and what that experience experience is going to look like.
Yeah.
So we could help him with that. So that experience improves, and people have a lot more trust, and his credibility rises. Plus, he's got better reviews there. Then when they actually go to his site, I think there's a lot we can do there. He's got a really cool logo, but he's got a nice scheduler. And then once you go into the scheduler, the experience there is kind of a wall of text of here's all the options. I mean, there's a lot we could do there as far as where laying in some of those most gushy customer reviews.
Yep.
Right there. When someone's at the point of purchase, I think we could really increase his reputation and improve that online experience. And then I really want to look at what the experience is like all the way until their butt is in the seat. What do the text reminders look like?
Yep.
What kind of content is he sending them as far as,
preparation for it, or like how to even find it. I'm in the Harley Davidson place, but you got to go here and go here around here.
Exactly.
Don't be thrown off when the address takes you to a Harley Davidson place.
And it's a little hard if you're coming from south or if you're coming from north. You enter his place a little differently, and then that communication would then just extend beyond with some of these resources we've talked about. So I'd like to do an audit of the customer journey, and then the messaging that goes on before that, and then the messaging that goes on after that.
All the touch points. And I think we're getting into a good thing of actually now starting to talk about more how we can get more customers in the top of funnel. Are there any other ideas or things we want to talk about customer experience?
I just had one idea, and I don't know if it's good because I just thought of it and haven't fleshed it out.
This is how the Olympics idea started.
No, I actually dedicated time to that one. Would it be worth him employing either one of the barbers he just hired or a new barber as like a mobile barber?
Ooh, I kind of thought about this idea too. I think the only concern I had is just about like just the cost of like having
You mean
all
like
that.
a barber truck?
Well, like
whatever it looks like, barber
What?
truck, or he
Shows up at your location.
Would they barb you in the car, or sorry, would they
barb you wherever.
Would they cut your hair in a car or come to your location, like to your house or to your office?
I think that's open for discussion, but I think having a truck is a cool idea. I mean, something that's big that's happening, especially like around here, like business park type of places. You'll have a truck come.
Yep.
It's a part of the company's like, what do you call it? Their
Some of their perks that
some
they
of their
give
perks.
or something like that. They get
exactly
some kind of a
once a
discount
month.
and-
We'll have a barber truck come. If anybody wants a haircut, run down.
Yeah, I think like with haircuts, it's so important is the scheduling efficiency. Being able to know like I have these people scheduled at this intervals, and I think that's really how they maximize revenue. So I think this is both an opportunity and a risk on that as far as like scheduling efficiency goes. Like,
Well, if it's prepaid, if he is connected with businesses and it's part
exactly.
of a perk, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's like kind of on the subscription issue, but yeah.
do you feel like there might be a little like a sexism risk there that he just does men's hair?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, is it a problem if he hires someone who could do both?
No, I'm just saying like
I don't know. Like,
with this
I don't
current
know.
setup, if you like, I don't know many companies are going to be like, we're having a little special thing. It's Dude's Day, like let's go get your hair cut.
yeah, with the
Right.
current setup, that's a good point. I
He
didn't
could
think of
partner
that.
with somebody that
Partner with a cosmet. What do you call it? What a hair.
a
salon?
hairstylist, like a hairstylist. He
What
partners
do you
with
call
a
a
hairstylist.
female barber?
I think a hairstylist or a
My
hair
mom
salon.
is a female barber. I mean, she's a hairstylist.
Is she?
That's what- yeah, and I
So
don't
I
know what
think-
it's called.
They're called Barbras.
That's exactly.
You mentioned in your last thing, you talked about the Google like maps,
Right.
like map stack. So to me, that's the number one. That's the most important thing for small brick and mortar type companies
right.
to bring more customers in through like online search. Okay. So when people are looking for a product or something like that, they're going to search for the service near me. Or even if they don't, if they just search for the service, oftentimes Google assumes that's what you're looking for, and they're going to present you the Google Map stack. And everyone's seen that. It's right at the top of the search results, and it has all the companies, and they're presented on a map, and then they're stacked on top of each other on the left side. So optimizing your website and optimizing your Google My Business profile is what is critical for you to ensure that you are showing up in the map stack and that you're showing up prominently. And that's going to be really important because there's a lot of barbershops, there are a lot of haircut places locally, and there's a lot of competition in that regard. And so if people are just going to search for barbershops near me, well, guess what? When I searched it and he's about 3 or 4 miles away, he didn't show up in the top 10. And so what we need to work on, and these are nice things to do because these are nice like check boxes, right? We could just take care of it. He's got to optimize his Google My Business profile. I saw some opportunity there with opportunities to specify his offerings with keywords, with optimizing with images and things like that. But a huge part of it, he's got to improve his website.
I agree.
Because that website is what ranks organically, and your organic rank of your website also impacts how you show up in the Google Maps stack. So right now, it's bare bones with that website. And I'm not saying he needs to have a huge blog. I'm not saying he needs to have a content, but he's got to establish the breadth and depth of that website beyond just being a scheduling arm. He needs to use it to highlight the services he's providing his customers, ideally through dynamic content like videos and images. And he also needs to provide something about him, something to warm it up so that, hey, this is who he is. This is how can he establish his expertise, his authority, and his trust to those consumers before, and how can he demonstrate that to Google? Because that is what Google's looking at when he's ranking that company organically and in the map stack.
Drop the mic. I think all of that was gold. I think that's exactly, I think with very light lift, I think his online presence could be improved dramatically. Everything from his Google profile to his reviews to that whole journey to his website, and then he gets out there and has a LinkedIn presence. And he's got a business. There's several places that he could just have a footprint on with very little effort. It doesn't all have to be on his website. With a few clicks and a few a few profile creations, he could be on some review sites. He could be on some he could be on some social media sites and just have a presence. Because when someone's searching either for haircuts or down the road when they're searching for him, he wants to own that SERPs page, and all of these things are going to help him own that.
Totally. I think. I want to see if he's open to this, but if he renames his companies to Barbershops Near Me, that way he'll have the exact match. So when people search Barbershops near me, he's going to just go ahead right to the top of the SERP. Do you think he'd be open to that?
Someone hasn't done that with like a small business. Do you think someone's done that?
I got that because I've seen that done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, I'm being kind of serious about this, and I'm guessing he won't be open to it. But his company is called Studio Z. Mm-hmm. And I think there honestly is a little bit of a thing with that where it's like studio, what type of studio is Studio Z? And also studio is a term that's more commonly associated with female haircuts than male haircuts. I honestly, and when people are searching for a male haircut, they're not searching for studio, they're searching for barbershop. So if he renamed his company to Barbershop Z, he would find that it'd be better like search and organic rankings and presence there, and a more clear understanding of what service, who his target audience is, and what his
at the point of this, they're going to understand exactly where
this opens up a discussion that I am on the opposite side of. I doubt he would do it. I also don't love it.
Barbershop Z?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, let me be a bridge. At least on his Google profile where it says Studio Z, it needs to somehow indicate who he's there for. Yeah. That he's for men. So if it was Studio Z,
you're saying like a subtitle,
some kind of a thing right there in his title could be Studio Z
for men.
For men, or Studio Z haircuts for men, something like that. Boom, clarity, and we get there. So maybe we can bridge that gap just a little bit if he's not for a complete overhaul of his identity.
Yeah,
top of the funnel type stuff, whether it's thought leadership or whether it's ads or something like that. But educating people like me that are follically challenged on there are certain kinds of haircuts that are going to put you at your best. If you're balding or if you're struggling up there, we can relieve some stress for you. There's a lot of people that don't like going to barbers because they're balding, or they haven't found a haircut that works for their ever receding hairline. And somebody that can offer some knowledge on YouTube or knowledge in their platform about how to cut your hair the right way and how to style it the right way when you're struggling. Then with that, I'm just saying he's going to have an audience there that's ready to learn.
If you're talking to like long-term keywords that would win, yeah, definitely like barbershop, whatever it is for bald men. That's something that like if there was education material like we're talking about recording, and the fact that's like I think that's a good.
It kind of sounds like an oxymoron.
Or I'm talking about his LinkedIn presence grows and he wants to offer a service for men. That's something men care about. Those are things he could address with all these video ideas and stuff like that. It's low hanging fruit on the content front.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
What's your favorite idea?
Mine, the Barber Olympics.
What's your favorite idea?
My favorite idea is to get his current customers referring people over. I think there's low-hanging fruit there. It's not the sexiest idea, but I think it's the most practical idea, and it's going to help him grow tomorrow.
I think we've got a lot of great ideas here.
What's your favorite?
Oh, my favorite idea, I think maybe, I like yours, related to customer education.
Right.
Because I think there's a great opportunity to use customer education to increase the stickiness, to get referrals, and to also bring people in top of funnel. So I think it applies to all aspects, and so I really like that. I think we got some really good ideas. It's been spaghetti on the wall. Like that has been the frame, like the structure of this episode. So a lot of things were said that we may not move forward with, but I think we have a lot of good like foundational things that we can start working on and putting together into a cohesive plan, and even do some initial vetting on, because a lot of these ideas have been like, oh, what feels good, knee-jerk response. I want to do some research. I want to get some data, some quantifiable things that would prove like this is a good path for us to go on. So I think that's kind of our next path is let's come together. Let's get the wheat from the tares. Let's put some substance behind this and formalize it into a good plan.
I love that. The great winnowing, where we take all these ideas and we winnow out the bad, and then we lay it out on throughout the customer journey, and then on an execution timeline. Here's where we can attack some of these ideas. Along over the next 3 months.
Do you think it would be good to start soliciting feedback from just the general audience?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, because I think we're going to put some polls out there, mostly related to do you support Chad's Barber Olympics idea and other ideas you may have. Let's get those in. Let's get every input coming in so that we can get it vetted.
That's it from our team. Thank you so much for joining. We had a lot of fun talking, a lot of rabbit trails that we went down, but I think there's some good gold in there if you mine deep enough. But thank you so much. Can't wait for the next episode. Talk to you later.